What's poppin', GEGP? This is Monday, March 3rd, 2025. Let's talk ball, baby. It's your boy Ray G. You can find me on X at Ray GQ. And on this stream tonight, this evening, we've got all kinds of mock drafts that have dropped, released post 2025 NFL Scouting Combine. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at one of the top analysts in the space. Lance Zierlein dropped as mock draft 2.0 following the combine. This is the first one that I've seen from a big name draft analyst, and I want to take a look at it. Look at it with y'all. I looked at a couple of picks when I saw a drop on X, but I have not done a deep dive through the selections, who got picked where, the rationale, and the reasons why. So we're going to do that. We're going to talk about it on this stream, go through this, and see how everything from this past weekend is going to impact, influence, and shape the way that we project and slot these players into their landing spots here, just, a couple of short weeks away from the NFL draft. So I appreciate everybody pulling up, appreciate everybody tapping in. We did wake up this morning and we're back for more content. As y'all can tell, I freaking love the draft. I love the combine. I love NFL. And more importantly, I just love football, y'all. Like, legit. There's a lot of people in this space that talk about football or they do data and analytics, but like this shit, from the time that I could remember being a kid, has been all I wanted to do. Wanted to play football. I'm in second, third grade asking my mom for a weight bench for Christmas to get bigger, faster, stronger, tackle foot. Like, this is life, right? This is life. I love talking ball. So I appreciate everybody being in. If you're rocking with me, if you're rocking what we do at DD, then make sure y'all do the one thing that shows that love and support, and that's subscribe. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, comment. We got a dope draft community. It's a lot of bullshit out there. People, big dick measuring contest. Who knows more? Who's the best draft analyst? Man, we all know ball. We're talking ball. Let's have a good time. Let's agree to agree and be different and live in that space and have some fun. So what I'm not going to do is get on here and shit on any pick that Lance Zierlein made. I may disagree. We'll talk about where I think he's, overweighting some stuff and where he might not be, but we're just going to look through this mock and talk through it. Also, right after this stream at 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the other channel, DDFFB, DD Fantasy Football, we've got the Dynasty Theory crew. Those guys are going to be on there talking all things Dynasty tonight, live Monday for the first time here in 2025. So make sure you pull up on DD Fantasy Football after this for Mitch, John, Dan, and the Dynasty Theory crew talking fantasy football. And if you happen to have missed Wake Up this morning with my co-host Jay Rich, make sure you check out Wake Up with Ray and Jay. We went through combines, winners, losers, talked through Deebo Samuel and some other interesting topics across the NFL landscape. But let's get into it. Lance Zierlein's mock. What's up, people? I can't start nothing without talking to the people. What's up, Eric? Wyatt Wallace in the building. GEGP to you. What's going down? Kyle Thomas, Ray the Goats. Wouldn't toot my own horn like that, but I appreciate you, Kyle. Moggs, what's going down, baby? I appreciate you every time you're in the building. Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Different with me streaming in the evening times. I kind of like it. It might do Wake Up and Turn Down. It might be a new show, Turn Down, on the channel. But let's pull up the mock and talk through Zierlein's selections and how he predicts these players to slot into some spots. Stanley, what's up, baby? He said, damn, today has been a good day. What's up? What's good with you, Stanley? What's going on? Let's talk about it. Zierlein, mock draft 2.0. Combine is over. You've got T. Higgins news, franchise tag coming for him. He cannot be happy. But let's talk through Tennessee. At number 1, I talked about in my mock on Saturday that there's no way the Titans pass on a quarterback, but it seems like Abdul Carter, from what people are saying, could potentially be the pick. So Abdul Carter comes off the board 1 to Tennessee. I'm just still today, on March 3rd, I don't care what anybody says, we got a long way into the draft. I'm still not buying the fact that they're going into next season with Will Levis. So if it's going to be Abdul Carter, if it's going to be Travis Hunter, y'all got to tell me who the hell's playing quarterback. You're going to have to tell me who's playing quarterback, because I refuse to believe for one moment that an offensive mind like Brian Callahan is going to go into next season with those guys at quarterback. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. We'll see it. And if it happens, I'll be like, damn, I was wrong. I just don't see how Abdul Carter and no quarterback helps, especially if the narrative now is Jackson Dart's going to be a first-round pick. So there is no getting a guy in round 2 for Tennessee. There is no other quarterback. Spare me Tyler Shuck at 33. I'm not buying that shit either. I'm not buying it if it was on clearance. I'm not buying him as a high second round pick, as a first round caliber quarterback. Not buying it as much as these people try to jam it down our throats and sell us that. I'm just not buying it. So Tennessee, they take Abdul Carter at 1. The Cleveland Browns are on the clock at 2, and they go Travis Hunter. Common name, common team, common fit, common pairing. Hunter said he wants to play both ways, and I believe it was the Browns. I believe it was the Browns who said that they would prioritize him as receiver before cornerback, even though in this write-up it says Hunter could come in and start at receiver or cornerback. I believe the Browns came out and said that they view Travis Hunter as a wide receiver primarily over cornerback. It was one of these two teams that said wide receiver over corner, and I think it was Cleveland. I think it was Cleveland. So right here, Travis Hunter as the receiver. Let's say he's the receiver. He goes in and he's catching passes from nobody right now because they have no quarterback on their roster. So we'll see how that plays out. And yeah. Like the point of doing this live is to engage with y'all in the chat. So holler at me in the comments. Get at it. This is a much more fun exercise when I'm doing it live with y'all opposed to doing it by myself. And that's why I'm trying something a little different, right? Steve Weber says, Ray, I'm with you on Will Levis. They moved on from him twice last year. I just don't buy it, Steve. I don't buy it. If you're telling me it's Sam Darnold that's going to come in, cool, buy it, cool. Take Abdul Carter. But without that in the equation, I'm not buying them passing on Cam Ward, a quarterback whom everybody says is legit and would be legit in any class. So Tennessee goes Carter, the Browns go Travis Hunter, and now you've got the Giants who need a quarterback. They are on the clock, and they take No, they don't take Shador. They take Cam Ward, quarterback out of Miami. Love Cam Ward. Love Cam Ward. He's got all the arm talent in the world. Decision making at times, I question it. Some people may question some of the lackadaisical effort at times, but what cannot be unquestioned, but what cannot be questioned is his experience, his competitive fire, his arm talent, and he absolutely has this galvanizing type personality that I can see being a leader of men, being the face of a franchise. Cam Ward has that. I believe there are a couple of quarterbacks who possess that attribute and trait in this class. Cam Ward is that. The Giants reset at quarterback, and I think this is a good pick. This is a good pick. Are they a Cam Ward away from winning the division? No. But with his arm strength, with his arm talent, this is the type of guy that can help Malik Neighbors ascend to another level, help Theo Johnson get on another level, continue to allow Wan'Dale Robinson to be proficient at what he does, and add more pieces around Cam Ward. He can support multiple weapons. Really like this spot. New York takes a quarterback we all needed. It's Cam Ward. Now shit gets interesting. Shit gets interesting. Tyler, appreciate you. Hit the sub, man. Hit the sub, like it. Live solo Ray on the regular, please. Moggs, I don't know yet. It's baseball season. I don't know yet, Moggs. We'll try it, man. We'll see how it goes. And Michael says, do you see any way this isn't the top 3 NFL picks? The only way it's not, Mike, if I can call you Mike, I hope that's all right. The only way it's not is if Tennessee takes Ward. If Tennessee takes Ward, then it goes Cam Ward. The Browns, they take Hunter, but they'll have their pick of Abdul Carter on the board. And then the Giants, the decision would lie with New York. I think that's the only way this is not the top 3 at this point in time. And some order, absent Cam Ward going number 1, which, Mike, I'm just telling you, I am not closing the door on that I just don't believe Will Levis is going in the season as the starter. So, yep, Stanley says Ward uplifts players. I'm not going to call him a truck because I think that is reserved for a select few quarterbacks in the NFL. But I'll definitely say Cam Ward fits the build of a floor-raising type quarterback. Let's continue on because the draft starts here at 4, and a new name enters the fold for the New England Patriots. Armand Mimbu, who had an incredible combine performance. He had the 40-yard dash heard round the world. If you have not heard it, he is grunting and making noises, but that big boy is moving his 300-pound ass down that 40-yard dash track in a hurry. 4.91, that was his 40 time, 4.8, something ridiculous like that. This was a guy that a lot of people have already mocked, and I've seen folks put Mimbu inside of round 1, hell, inside the top 15 multiple times throughout this draft process, but this was as high as I've seen him yet. If New England needs a tackle, I saw some draft scouts saying, yeah, I think he's a better guard than tackle. Everybody's a better guard than tackle. Protect Drake May. If that is the plan that they want to go with, protect Drake May, new name at 4 for New England, Armand Mimbu. I have been a big proponent of New England trading back here, whether that be the Jets, the Raiders, move back, acquire capital. They've got a high pick in the second round, but it's not Will Campbell. For the first time, it is not Will Campbell, who a lot of people say with the short arms will probably have to kick inside to guard, but you just was Dallas upset that Zach Martin didn't continue to play tackle like he got to play some tackle at Notre Dame? He was an incredible guard, all pro Hall of Fame guard. So Armand Mimbu to the New England Patriots. At 4, another new name for a team. We've got Ted McMillan going 5 overall to the Jags. My mock, he went 25. So he went 20 spots higher in this mock. And I question this one. They drafted Brian Thomas Jr. last year. You paid Gabe Davis. He's not going away. Sure, you can get rid of Christian Kirk, but Gabe Davis is going to be there. You got Parker Washington. You've got Britton Strange. You've got your running back core. I don't know. I get it, adding another wide receiver to this offense, but I just don't believe that Ted McMillan is worthy of the 5th overall pick. I don't think with some of the other players that are on the board, whether that's Shamar Stewart, Mason Graham, Jalen Walker, hell, Ashton Genty, I don't believe that I would take McMillan at 5. And I see historical anomaly says Tet and BTJ is nasty, though. I get that. But BTJ and Trey Harris in the second round is fine. You know, it's this name that we're attaching. You're spending the 5th overall pick on a player that you want to be your team's number 2 option. I don't know. I don't know about that one. Maybe they need a receiver, and I see Gabe Davis need back-to-back years may be enough, but not at 5. I'm not doing that at 5 with the defensive caliber players on the board. That's it. Steve said at the podium, Jacksonville said they wanted to add more receivers to their offense, more receivers and offensive line for Trevor. Take Will Campbell here then. I'm not taking McMillan at 5. So this is a pick that I agree you smashed it last year with BTJ. Let's trust that scouting process and find somebody in round 2 or 3. Give me Jaden Higgins in the 2nd. You know what I'm saying? Unless he gets picked in the 1st. Let's go to 6. Las Vegas Raiders, another new name. Normally, this is the spot that has been reserved for Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders. We'll get to Shedeur later. There's all kinds of reports. Here's what I'm interested in. I'm going to keep it a buck. I'm going to keep it 100. Here's what I'm interested in. Real football shit as to why Shedeur should not be picked here. You call me what you want. I have been 10 toes down on this. I don't care about your personal preference. If why you don't like him is because he holds his wristwatch up, you don't like his goddamn daddy. I don't care about any of that. If you give me some football stuff, I will not disagree with you. And when I hear football people talking from the combine, Emory Hunt, other football people said they talk to folks, Josina Anderson, talk to GMs, talk to Scott. They think Shedeur and Cam Ward are both incredible. They think there's two outstanding young men, 2 good quarterbacks, Cam Ward much better than Shedeur, but it's all this other stuff that's popping up with him. So you want to talk football, we can do that. You don't got to like his arm talent. You could think the scheme was bad, a lot of manufactured touches, but spare me he held up his wristwatch so you don't like him. You know? Spare me the wristwatch as to the reason why you don't like him. I'm not buying that. Yeah, the hit piece is already starting. Already. Jalen Walker to the Las Vegas Raiders, edge rusher. Man, Max Crosby and Jalen Walker. That's an interesting pick. It's been Shedeur. I've seen Ashton Genty to the Raiders. I've seen Tetairoa McMillan. I've yet to see an edge rusher that isn't a traditional edge. Jalen Walker measured in 6'1", I believe, like 240, which is fine, but he's not a hand in the dirt edge, and he's not an off-ball linebacker primarily. So this is just an interesting pick. I don't know. I don't know about this one with the Raiders. I love Jalen Walker, but is that what y'all want, Raiders fans? Even following the beat reporters from Las Vegas, it's just like I haven't seen anything about an edge at 6 unless it's Abdul Carter. So the Raiders go Jalen Walker. I mean, 2 new names to new teams. here. Hell, 3 in a row with Armand Mimbu, Tet McMillan, and Jalen Walker to the Raiders. Let's get back to some normalcy. And maybe the Jets end up getting just a steal here at 7 with Will Campbell, the offensive tackle slash guard from LSU. I mean, again, arms aren't ideal length, so that is something that he's going to have to overcome. But when you're talking about just a rock solid football player who's going to bring leadership, toughness, and improve your offensive line, Will Campbell will do that. Will Campbell does that. He did that his entire career. This past season, it may not have been perfect for Campbell, but this is still a top tier line prospect that the Jets are picking up here at 7 to improve that front for whomever's playing quarterback for him. Let's move on to 8. The Carolina Panthers need a lot. Defense was historically bad. Bryce Young turned it around at the end of the season. They lost their second round running back who they wanted to develop into a starting running back, and they traded away a lot of draft capital over the past couple of years. They got pick 8, then they got pick 58, so they got to make this shit count. What do the Panthers do at 8? They take Mykel Williams, edge rusher out of Georgia. They need pass rushing help in the worst way, yada, yada, yada. Mykel Williams. My question is, I gave him James Pierce. So I gave them an edge rusher as well. I gave him James Pierce, Mykel Williams, Shamar Stewart. If you're talking receiver for the Panthers, if Tet went 5, and there's some people who think Golden could be the first off the board, is that too high for Matthew Golden? I think so, personally. I wouldn't take him at 8. Tyler Warren, Colston Loveland. Can I interest Carolina fans in a tight end? Mykel Williams at 8 feels a little rich. A player who has physical tools and gifts, and you see that on tape, but a player that we got no testing from. He didn't do anything in the combine, so I don't know how he jumps up to 8 today. I don't know. I like Mykel, but can I interest you in Pierce? Maybe a tight end? Mykel's a good player. Carolina gets better on the defensive side of the ball. They need a replacement after losing Brian Burns. And remember, they didn't have Derek Brown last year as well. He got hurt early, so you get Derek Brown back. You add Mykel Williams with Evero, the defensive coordinator. Hopefully the Panthers defense can turn that thing around. I also hear Panthers fans say they'd be just fine with Will Johnson as well, cornerback out of Michigan. Let's move on to pick 8. Another new player with a team, and I love this fit. I love this pick. Can I air horn this one? I'm going to air horn this one. Love this one. The New Orleans Saints get Shamar Stewart, the explosive edge rusher from Texas A&M. And one of the things that we learned from the combine was Shamar Stewart had to play a little bigger, and the scheme was impacting that production. So did Nick Scordon, Shamar Turner. But this defensive front had to truly do what the defensive coach said. But the talent and the traits are there. You look at the measurables compared to Myles Garrett, same height, 4 pounds lighter, same vertical jump, same 40-yard dash time, all the physical tools. And I believe Shamar Stewart has a longer wingspan than Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett also had 33 career sacks. Shamar Stewart had less than that number of fingers on my hand, had less than 5. A lot of draft people say when it comes down to production on the edge, that stuff matters. But if you don't get the production, you bet on the traits. And you bet on the traits that best compare to Myles Garrett on a position where the Saints need somebody with Cam Jordan, getting older, getting towards the end of his career. They need a lot. They could try to trade out. They could go tight end. I mock Colston Loveland here. I saw another mock with Tyler Warren being frequently mocked to the Saints. But Shamar Stewart investing in the trenches in a position of need on a bad defense as well. The Big Dub Network doesn't like Stewart. Said he's going to get a GM fired. Yeah, I don't know about that, bub. I mean, I don't know if Shamar Stewart at pick 9 gets a GM fired. You know what gets a GM fired? Whiffing on Anthony Richardson at pick 4. I don't think an edge rusher at 9 gets a GM fired. I don't think anybody at 9 is going to get a GM. Hell, Taco Charlton wouldn't even get a GM fired. It was Jerry Jones, and no one can fire him. But let's move on to pick 10. Another controversial pick of recent news, Josh Simmons out of Ohio State. It was reported it was a torn ACL. Now it's a patella tendon. They say that is not good for offensive linemen, but he's healthy and working his way back. If he's all the way, Josh Simmons is a monster. If you have not watched any tape on Ohio State, which a lot of you probably don't, which is fine, but go look at it. Just you don't need to be a 20-year veteran in the scouting game to look at an offensive lineman just mold defenders that are in front of him. And that's what Josh Simmons' tape shows when he's healthy. Patella tendon for an offensive tackle at pick 10. Again, I'm not here. I'm not here to say Zierlein is this or that. That dude's got 100,000 followers and a lot more draft hours than I have. But this is one where I'm just like, I don't know about Simmons right here at pick 10 for the Bears, especially with that news that we just got. We know the Bears need to protect Caleb. Hopefully Josh Simmons is good. If he's good, this is a great pick, and they will laugh to the bank, and hopefully there's no issues flaring up with his patella tendon. But the Bears take Josh Simmons at 10. So quick recap, Simmons at 10, Shamar Stewart went 9th to the Saints, Michael 8th to the Panthers, Will Campbell 7th to the Jets, Jalen Walker to the Raiders at 8, and then your top 5, Tet McMillan to the Jags, Armand Membu to the Pats, Cam Ward to the Giants, Cleveland gets Travis Hunter, and Abdul Carter goes number 1 overall to the Tennessee Titans. Carolina just cut cornerback Jackson, so probably go Will Johnson to fit the terrible defense. That's what I would think. I think Will Johnson would be the pick for Carolina with Tet not on the board. Sanders not picked by the Raiders or Jets. I don't think so. Listen, we're just going through the board. We're going through the board. Right, only offensive players get you fired. Yeah, I don't think a D-line is going to get you fired. No way do the Bears take Simmons. And one name that has not come off the board that has been a frequent pick inside the top 5 is Mason Graham. I said this on this morning's wake-up show. All you got to do is search social media. If you have a Twitter, an X, just look at the narrative that's been brewing about Mason Graham over the past week. Just go read it. I'm just the messenger. I think Mason Graham is a fine defensive player. Go read what people are saying about Mason Graham right now. I don't know if he's truly worthy of a top 5 pick. Is this what you consider a dominant defensive tackle? Just letting you know. Just letting you know. Drip Clips, I'm sorry. He said, why did I click on and have to hear Taco Charlton? Probably my least favorite player of all time. You and me both, my friend. You and me both. Let's move on down the mock. Pick 11. There you go. San Francisco said, we'll stop the slide. We'll stop the slide. San Francisco takes Mason Graham. A gift. Whether Mason Graham turns out to be the next. Who was 94? It wasn't. Who was the D tackle? Justin Thomas? What was his name? Kyle Thomas? San Francisco had a Justin Smith was his name. That's what it was. 94 from the Niners. Justin Smith. So they get their Justin Smith of this generation to pair with Nick Bosa, to pair with Fred Warner and that defense. They get the gift of Mason Graham falling to pick 11. This is the lowest I've seen Mason Graham on any mock draft I've looked at. This is the lowest I've seen Mason Graham go. And it'd be interesting to see where his draft slot ends up settling at, closer to the actual NFL draft. At 12, y'all know what Dallas does. Y'all know what they do. They take Ashton Jeanty. Ashton Jeanty, one of the best running back prospects in this class. 72 hours ago, right here on the stream. Moggs, you heard it. Stanley, Tyler, Rumi, you might have been in here. You heard it, right? I said that after Saturday, that there would start to become rumors and people would start to push this narrative after a whole goddamn season of listening to how Ashton Jeanty is the best running back prospect we've seen in our lifetime. Generational talent. I didn't say it. I'm just the messenger. A mere 72 hours after the Underwear Olympics, I've already seen more Omarion Hampton over Ashton Jeanty takes than I can bear. I've already seen it. There's no difference. Hampton's just as good. Some GMs and scouts prefer Hampton. Hampton. Judkins. I knew it. Sure as the sun rises in the morning, people's inability to contextualize what the combine means and how it impacts draft capital, it's that fever. You just got to do it. It's that button you just got to touch. That badass kid that you know good and damn well you can't leave around the fire alarm. It's already the generational one. Might not even be the RB1 in this class. Combine season, baby. Pick 13, the Miami Dolphins get freak Nick Eamon-Wari. I mean, this safety, 6'3", 220, 4'3", 40-yard dash, 43-inch vertical jump, 11-foot broad jump. Miami, they're losing Javon Holland. Miami, we've mocked Malachi Starks. Nick Eamon-Wari is going to be the first safety off the board. You 6'3", you 225 pounds, and you run 4.3 and jump like a freak and have the ball skills, and we're already being talked about as a fringe first rounder, you, sir, are the safety one off of the board. Nicky Minwari goes to Miami. Love the fit, and he's going to be really good with Jalen Ramsey. If this were the pick, he is not just a Cam Chancellor in the box linebacker safety. Go watch the tape. He can patrol the back end 1,000%. Nicky Minwari, 13 overall to the Dolphins. The Indianapolis Colts, who there's reports that they might take a quarterback, they don't do it here. They take Tyler Booker, interior offensive lineman from the Alabama Crimson Tide. Tyler Warren's been a frequent mock here. No Tyler Warren yet. No Tyler Warren. Tyler Booker. The Colts bolstering their offensive line. I believe they still have Quentin Nelson there. Not sure if Ryan Kelly is at center, but upgrading their interior offensive line. This is a position that I've yet to see anybody mock the Colts to. It's normally Tyler Warren, maybe a little lazy on our part. If not Tyler Warren, it's Malachi Starks, maybe a little lazy on our part. Zierlein might be, Lance might be saying, hey, I'm hearing some stuff about them trying to help that offensive line, give A. Rich some time, confidence, yada, yada, yada. Tyler Booker, 14 overall. To the Colts, now we get familiar with the name and a team. Mike Green to the Atlanta Falcons, edge rusher out of Marshall. This is a pick that we make a bunch of times. We've seen happen a lot. Not shocking. They need to get after the quarterback. 17 sacks last year, explosive. Some off-field concerns that have already been squashed, but Mike Green, explosive, dynamic edge rusher. And I got to see him in person. Powerful, powerful player. Powerful player. He goes 15 to the Falcons. I'm going to hit the chat real quick, see what y'all are talking about. What's going on? Vidal Stewart. Hopefully I pronounced your name right, sir. 49ers fans here and I would be ecstatic if Mason Graham lands in San Francisco. Great pick, but as a Dallas Cowboys fan, I'm hating. I am hating. It would not be a great pick, and I would not be ecstatic at all. That is hell on wheels with Robert Saleh, getting him next to Nick Bosa. I would love this as a Niners fans. Allen, you know I love you. Screw you too, man. I don't love it at all. I don't love it as a Cowboys fan. That would be a nightmare for people who have to defend that. Graham, I never thought he was worth a first-round pick. Stanley's entitled to his opinion. I think he's a first-round caliber tackle. Defensive tackle, maybe not a top 3 guy. I think he's a first-round pick, Stanley. Mason Graham said he lost weight due to injury. Solomon Thomas, no, it was Justin. It was Justin. It was the Justin guy. Who else we got in the chat? Genty to Dallas is a lock. I hate it here as a Washington fan. It's going to happen. If he's on the clock, Dallas is going to take him 100%. He's going to take him 100%. That O-line is aging out, and the defensive secondary is garbage. Talking about the Colts, I don't think the Colts take tight end either. And this is from Zach Litton, FF Uncle Piff. I don't think the Colts take a tight end. That's why I like doing this. Here's the thing about me. I'm not finna sit here like I know everything about every damn team, right? I'm reading, I'm listening, I'm watching, I'm using what I saw on the field. So I like doing this because you get fan bases of these teams letting us know, nah, bruh, we're not good here. We need to invest somewhere else. So thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. Let's move on because we got a trade. We have a trade. And if I told you without seeing the Houston Texans made a trade up here to 16, what position and player would y'all think it would be for? If I told you, hey, Houston's on the clock now. They traded up. Who picks at 16? It goes Falcons, and then was it the Bucks? Was it the Cardinals? Traded up with the Cardinals. Who would y'all think that they're taking? The Houston Texans, devoid of receiver talent. Who are they taking? Who are they trading up to get? Kelvin Banks, offensive tackle and guard out of Texas. I don't even know if we had Kelvin Banks mocked in round 1 on Saturday. Yeah, I'm glad I went ahead. Jesus said receiver. Steve said Walter Nolan. The Big Dub Network said wide receiver. Yeah, O-line, historical anomalies. They went with Kelvin Banks. Interesting, but that could be Lance's projection on Banks being really talented and really good. Joel said, sheesh. Yeah, they take O-line. They take O-tackle in Kelvin Banks. I don't know why they felt like they needed to trade up for Banks, but that could be stuff that he's hearing that we do not have access in privy to. Fantasy football fans, if you play fantasy football in here, tuck it up under your belt strap. That's all I'm going to tell you right now. Tuck it up. because I know it's about to go up. Cincinnati Bengals are on the clock, and Cincinnati Bengals take Tyler Warren, tight end out of Penn State. Don't stand up, sit down. Okay. Don't. I know it's late night. We're getting later. East Coast is 8:30. Sit down. I know you're losing your minds right now. You are loving it. Tyler Warren to Cincinnati. And I'll tell you the truth. I like it too. I'm not, I'm an air hornet. I'm not just saying it to mess with y'all. I'm excited too. And I'm standing up. This would be a dope fit. Mike Gesicki on a 1-year deal. They lost Eric All. And at the beginning of last year, it looked like All was about to be a part of this offense. He was going to get some run and get some opportunity. Tyler Warren serves two purposes. You've got a versatile player that Joe Burrow can use in creative ways. I would love to see what Zach Taylor can do with him. You've got a player that can contribute as a blocker, and you've got a dominant player in the AFC North in which you need dominant players. You know, since he's got to deal with goddamn Henry and Lamar twice a year. You know, the Bengals have to deal with Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh twice a year. You got to deal with whatever defense the Cleveland Browns roll out twice a year. You got to get through Kansas City. You got to get through LA. You got to get through Houston. You got to all the AFC is legit. So getting a dynamic playmaker like Tyler Warren, I mean, this is a gift. I love it. I love the fit. It makes sense. And with the Colts not taking him and hearing from Colts fans that tight end is not the number one priority in round one, knowing they could probably get a tight end in round 2, round 3, I can see this happening. I can absolutely see this happening. Scribble said it's Viagra. Burrow misses time. Warren slides into the Wildcat. Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Stanley, we know they need defense. They need D-line. They need secondary. What do you think teams do? Are they filling needs first, or are they taking BPA? It's like the chicken versus the egg. If you were a GM and you're like, man, I know I need this position, but my God, a top, universally believed top 10 players here for us almost in the 20s. And they do need a tight end. You know, what do you do? What do you do when BPA is face to face with position with team need, especially when you know the D-line is loaded as shit? Like this is the year I think you can take those offensive swings early. And let's just say hypothetically, because I've given Cincinnati Walter Nolan here, that they don't go D tackle in round 1. They go Tyler Warren. Sure, you're not going to get Walter Nolan in the second, but I mean, Omar Norman Lott out of Tennessee, credible defensive tackle. You know, you've got the big kid out of Maryland. You've got Alfred Collins. You've got Josiah Stewart out of Michigan. There are multiple interior and edge rushers that you can get in the second and third round. There aren't many Tyler Warren, Colston Loveland, Elijah Arroyo, Mason Taylors that you have a chance to get inside the top 50. Cincy, I love to pick Tyler Warren here. At 18, Seattle takes Matthew Golden. Wow. How we feeling? I love it. I love it. Rumors about DK being moved, and you replace the downfield speedster with another downfield speedster. JSN is the number one. He is the number one option. Don't give me no Matthew Gold. JSN is the primary target. He should feast, and you've got a young, hungry playmaker on the outside that can get down the field and replicate some of those passing concepts that will allow Geno Smith to put air under the ball and get it downfield. Really like this. I know Seattle needs some other stuff. O-line, D-line. I think it would fit. Is that their number one priority? Is that what Seattle needs right now? A Matthew Golden? Maybe not. But I didn't mock it. I'm just reacting to it. If Tyler Lockett gets cut and DK Metcalf gets shipped, they got to replace him. And it ain't going to be with goddamn Jake Bobo and AJ Barner by themselves. So I like Matthew Golden here. I like Golden here. Let's go 19. 19. James Pierce, edge rusher out of Tennessee. Incredible combine. Pressure rates and pressure numbers are incredible. And he, too, is starting to get some of that bad character rap. So James Pierce, character concerns, I don't know. I didn't say it. I am just the messenger here with James Pierce. Incredible. I mocked him 8 to the Carolina Panthers in my mock. He goes 19th to Tampa Bay. Denver Broncos are on the clock at 20, and Sean Payton will not shut up about his joker. He needs a joker. I need a damn edge. What I like about Sean Payton, man, I could play for Sean Payton. I could. He is cut from the cloth that I came from. I'm gonna shoot you straight. I'm no bullshit. My mom was military for 33 years, single mom. She was no bullshit. It is what it is. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I love Sean Payton. We need a tight end. We need a running back. We need a guy that can do multiple things. There are people. I text with some scouts during the combine. I was like, "Hey man," are some of my frat brothers. I'm like, "Hey man, are y'all hearing Colston Loveland over Tyler Warren? Is this a real thing?" And they kind of laugh, like, "Yeah, dude." Half the people I talk to think Loveland is better than Warren. He's more versatile. He's more athletic. You can deploy him in other NFL pass catching ways, not playing center and doing shit like that. And multiple teams who have Colston Loveland rated ahead of Tyler Warren. And I wouldn't be shocked if Colston Loveland is selected ahead of Tyler Warren. They went 3 picks apart right here, both to teams that need them. Denver and Colston Loveland, Denver and Tyler Warren, Denver and Mason Taylor or Elijah Arroyo make all the sense in the world. Good pick. Let's continue to build around our second-year budding star quarterback, Bo Nix. Pittsburgh's on the clock at 21, and Steelers fans, can I air horn this for you? How the hell is Will Johnson on the board at 21? I just because he didn't run, because he didn't run the 40, he goes from a player that has been mocked inside the top 10 pretty consistently to 21. Man, maybe my eyes have just deceived me for the past 2 years of Will Johnson playing lockdown cornerback. Maybe my shit's just bad, and I got new glasses, man. I just got these. Just got these. Maybe I need to go back get a new prescription because I don't see it. I don't really need him to run a 40. I've watched him play. You think he's fucking slow? I don't get this one. One I don't get. Brucey said this mock is unserious. Porter Jr. and Will Johnson, nasty top 5 talent. Who is CB1? Him or JPJ? Mm. Mm-mm-mm. This list seems crazy. They got to replace Deontay. Hell yeah, we'll take him at 21. Well, no shit, Dan. Yeah, you'll take him at 21. So would I. So would I. Zierlein having a rough draft cycle, in my opinion. I'm not here to do that. Zierlein is the man, right? I'm just swim. I'm just going through the mock. It was the first one that dropped, and I'm just going through it. Will Johnson at 21. Him and Porter Jr. Nice. You got Minka Fitzpatrick. You still got TJ. I know Cam Hayward's getting a little older. You got the other kid, Highsmith, on the other side. Keanu Benton, I believe. It's a defensive tackle name. I can't think of his name. It's not Benton. Benton is in Tampa Bay, I believe. But yeah, this would be nice. This is nice. This is a good pick for Pittsburgh. And maybe breaks the heart a little bit of Jim Harbaugh, who's picking at 22, and the Chargers are on the clock. And y'all know they're going to Michigan. Look at that. 3 Michigan guys off the board. Jim Harbaugh just heartbroken watching this draft unfold. Colston Loveland, he falls out. He's thinking maybe we can get him. Will Johnson still on the board. He gets picked. He's like, God damn it. It's either Donovan Edwards, Hosea Stewart, or Kenneth Grant. So we'll take Kenneth Grant. All the Michigan guys. Mason was falling. Yeah, they're all falling down. Kenneth Grant, big defensive tackle. The Chargers need defense in the worst way. He's a good player. Didn't test at the combine, but a good match. They need defensive line. They need tight end, but they can address that at 54 in round 2. So the Chargers, they don't go running back. They go D-line. They invest in the trenches. Defensive line, Kenneth Grant out of Michigan. Is it Benton? Is it Keanu Benton that they have? Okay. That's what I thought. There's another guy that I'm thinking about. Tampa Bay's got another young guy, but I'm pretty good with my names and teams and players. Green Bay is on the clock at pick 23, and all Packers fans tell me is we need a defensive back and we need a tackle, not a fringe guy. We need a offensive lineman that plays one legitimate position. But Jahdae Barron, man, love this pick. Air horn in this pick. Really like this pick for Green Bay. I see people saying like, oh yeah, he's a lockdown number 1 outside corner. I think you want him doing some of the stuff that he did well and was so successful at Texas, being that corner, nickel, outside, safety, blitzer, run defender. He kind of does a little bit of everything. I haven't seen a Jalen Petrie comparison to Jahdae Barron, but he reminds me of Petrie coming out of Baylor. And I was a big Jalen Petrie fan. And I know he got hurt in Houston, so some of the steam and the momentum that was building towards him maybe cooled off a little bit. But I see that type of player. Sanders still maybe better than that. Jahdae Barron, incredible player, tested out of his mind, and he's cemented himself in the first round. So Green Bay gets defensive back help and might get a wide receiver on the way with DK Metcalf and a potential trade. See, we've got another trade. Where's my draft chimer at? I don't. Where's my NFL? We got an NFL. We got a trade on the board. I should do this for every pick, right? Y'all like that? I like that draft noise. We should do a trade. I mean, we should do that for everything. But we got a trade at pick 24. The Minnesota Vikings have moved off of this pick. They said, "Man, we ain't got no picks in the second round. We need to get a second round pick somewhere. We need some capital. Come take this 24th pick." The Baltimore Ravens are on the clock, and the Baltimore Ravens opt for offensive tackle Josh Connerly out of Oregon. Help protect Lamar Jackson. Ronnie Stanley, we know the issues with him. At left tackle, they've got to replace Stanley. They jump over the Rams. Josh Connerly and the Rams have been a player and a team that have been paired and married a lot throughout this process. But Baltimore says, let's protect Lamar. Let's continue to open running lanes for Derrick Henry. And we're going to run that shit back. We're going to do it again. Let's improve this offensive line. They go Josh Connerly, tackle out of Oregon. I wonder what Minnesota got for that. What do you think that cost Minnesota? Because Baltimore was picking the back of the second. I would love to see what they got. This had to have been, they get a second and a fifth, a second and a future pick. What'd they get? They had to get something. They didn't just move off of one and get a second round pick. They had to get, what, a second and a third? I'm sure Vikings fans with Kenneth Grant off of the board, Genty's not there. Maybe Vikings, Kevin O'Connell's like, we can move back. We can still get a dope running back. We've got a lot of defensive linemen that we can get later. Just wonder what this compensation was for Minnesota. Ray G Late Night. Yeah, what's up, Jamie? What's up, baby? What's good with you? All right, let's move on to 25. Pick 25. What do we have? This was the trade. So the Arizona Cardinals traded with Houston so Houston can take Kelvin Banks, and the Cardinals at pick 25 select Luther Burden. I don't like it, man. I don't. You paid Trey McBride, or you're paying Trey McBride. You spent the 4th overall pick. I think they were picking 4th, 5th on Marvin Harrison Jr. last year, the generational one. You have Michael Wilson. There are plenty of slot receivers that you can get later in the draft at much cheaper. I don't think, and I'm reading the write-up, Arizona adds an underrated weapon to pair with Marv, helping to unlock the offense's potential. How about Marv take a step up? How about that? How about we use Trey McBride and have Marvin Harrison and Kyler Murray go practice together? And how about he take a step up? We don't need another underrated weapon to pair with Marv for Arizona. I don't get this one. Not at 25. Not after they made a solid move to move back. And you've got defenders on the board. You've got edge rushers. We know this team needs defensive help. They need O-line help, protect Kyler Murray. Yeah. What are your thoughts on this one? This is one Wyatt says he's a Cards fan. Some damn D-line help is a lot more important. Steve says, I don't mind it. 25-second and a 26-second trade compensation. If it was this time last year, Jason says if it was this time last year, and I told you you'd have Marvin Harrison Jr. and Luther Burden the third, you'd be ecstatic. Kyler has more weapons than, yeah, I'd be ecstatic from a fantasy perspective, but I'm thinking team building wise, I just don't think that that's the problem. I don't think not having a third receiver is the issue in Arizona. Get Marv playing a little better. Hammer Trey McBride. You've got a young running back in the wings with Trey Benson behind James Conner. I don't know. We got one right here, non-existing. It's a pretty bad pick. Z, what's up, baby? Said Arizona needs pass rush. Just my thought. But Burton is a fun player. I just don't. I don't like the fit right here. I don't think it's a position of need at this spot after making a nice savvy trade back. At 26, the Rams. The Rams get Jahad Campbell. Love this pick. The athletic linebacker that can rush, that can do a lot of different things, incredibly young. Great combine from Jahad Campbell. He goes to the Rams, who just they've turned into a team that loves draft picks and they continue to invest in the defense. And I think this is an underrated pick. They hit home runs, not just last year, but Byron Young, Kobe Bryant, Braden Fisk, Jared Verse. They need linebacker. They read up what they got Stafford back. They got one of their offensive linemen back. Jackson, I think was his name. They re-signed him. They're trending this thing in the right direction. The Rams were another one of them teams, y'all. I was guilty. And I say this because I did it. Oh man, the Rams might be picking top 5 in the draft. Stafford's gonna get benched. They're gonna be picking top 5. And they're in the playoffs, winning a playoff game. So this is an effort to improve the defensive side of the ball. I love what the Rams are building. Sean McVay's a dope coach, and Jahad Campbell at 26 would be a gift. Would be an absolute gift. Stanley said it. Good pick. Steve said, no way Jahad makes it that far. Swim says the same thing. Not falling. Non-existent said, this might be the worst mock I've seen. We ain't gonna do that, man. I get them every time I drop one. It's the worst thing that somebody has ever seen. So there have been quite a few interesting ones that I've seen today, Nan. There have been quite a few interesting ones that I've seen today. But we have another trade. Let's hit the draft the chime timer. Well, it's not really a trade, but it's a pick from a trade. So Minnesota Vikings, here's their capital. They moved back a couple of picks. So one a second, and none, they just moved back to 27. Vikings traded with Baltimore. Baltimore took their tackle, and the Minnesota Vikings take Maxwell Harrison, cornerback out of Kentucky, 4.28, blazed the combine. He's buzzing. He's buzzing. There are some things that I am not going to bring up, that I'm not going to say that I saw today about Maxwell Harrison. I hope it's not true, but there's some stuff out there if you go do some digging that there's, it's draft season, so all kinds of shit pops up. What's real versus BS? I don't know. I just saw some stuff about Maxwell Harrison today. Go check it out if you want. If there is any smoke around that, then it'll definitely impact his draft stock, which I hope for all parties and all sakes involved that it is not true and it is just made up. But Maxwell Harrison goes 27 to the Minnesota Vikings after an incredible combine, and the Detroit Lions are on the clock at 28, and they stay with the defensive back position as well, selecting Ezariah Thomas, cornerback out of Florida State. Really like this player. I got to talk to him, watch his demeanor, physicality in Mobile. He's got a brother that's in the NFL, plays for the Cowboys with Wanye Thomas. A lot of people don't know that, so he's got some NFL bloodline and pedigree. He's a physical cornerback, and I like that. Detroit, they picked the cornerback last year, Terrion Arnold early, Brian Branch, I believe the year before in round 2, so they've invested a lot in their secondary, but man, they need it. They need that and pass rush help. So 28, Detroit Lions go Ezariah Thomas, cornerback out of Florida State. And we scroll down the board, and oh boy, here we go. Let's do the chime. We have a trade. We have a damn trade, people. The Cleveland Browns traded with the Washington Commanders and are now on the clock. And the Cleveland Browns select quarterback Shedeur Sanders from Colorado. Shedeur Sanders' slip and slide is over. The Browns sent their 33rd overall pick and an additional selection to the Commanders in order to take a swing at a QB of the future. So they sent 33 overall, which is pick 1. So they're 201. They sent the 201 to Washington, and let's say a future third gets it done. We're talking pick 29. We're not talking pick 5. Future third. So the 201 and a future third gets them here to 29. If I was a Commanders fan, I'd be sure. You're gonna give me future capital. Maybe it's a second, but they get Shedeur Sanders here at 29. And if you remember, And I'm going to scroll up real fast. If you remember, at pick 2, the Cleveland Browns selected Travis Hunter. It's a fun narrative, right? It's a fun narrative to think about. Y'all can't lie. Keep it real. It's a fun narrative to think about. Will it happen? The hell if I know. Maybe. Sure. Cleveland, if he's sliding that far, maybe. It's a fun narrative to think about Shedeur throwing the ball to Travis Hunter. It's a fun narrative. Will it happen? I don't know. Will Shedeur Sanders be on the board at pick 29? Today, I don't feel that that's going to happen. I don't think that he's going to fall to 29. But in this mock, the Commanders traded their 33rd overall pick and a future pick in order to get him. If Cleveland did this, everybody says Cleveland just kills quarterbacks. So this is a spot I don't really want either of these two quarterbacks going. Maybe with his collegiate, I don't know, man. The NFL and the big goddamn 12 are two complete. You might as well be talking about Earth and Mars. This is an interesting one. What are y'all's thoughts? I'm looking in the chat. I am looking at the chat. I think Cleveland has to go QB at 2. Did I just see Jalen Walker to the Raiders? You did. None existed. Go back and watch the stream. I didn't make the mock. Go back and watch the stream before you say I'm not even scrolling up. Steve says, I think Pittsburgh takes him if he slides. There's no way he falls that far. I definitely see the possibility of Washington not picking round 1. And this is from a Commanders fan, especially at 29, if somebody's giving you something. Shedeur hate is forced. Cleveland ain't trading shit. We ain't ruining primetime sun. All right. Here's one from Jamie. And this is why I love doing these live, because you get people from these locations that have literally watched this team and know more about the team inner workings than I do. So thank y'all. Cleveland only drafted 2 QBs in the top 5 since 99. And I remember Tim Couch being one of them. That was the Tim Couch, Courtney Brown draft, wasn't it? Tim Couch and Courtney Brown vying for that number 1 overall pick spot, and Baker Mayfield. To be fair, they were both awesome. Baker was all. Tim Couch wasn't that good, was he? 99. I know I was a young lad, but Tim Couch wasn't any good, was he? Come on, Jamie. Don't you give me no homer shit, Jamie. Keep it real. Was Tim Couch any good? Browns only kill QBs if they don't take one in the top 5. Okay, all right, man. Browns fans must be exhausted. It's got to be. Ain't nothing worse than being a Cowboys fan, man. I don't know. At least, I don't know. Browns would be smart to just get Ward. Let's move on. Let's finish out this mock so y'all can get over there and watch the Dynasty Theory crew. Buffalo Bills on the clock at pick 30. Oh, let's go. Walter Nolan out of Ole Miss. Another narrative that has started to surface from the combine is his maturity. There are some conversations, people say, some sources of maturity issues, which part of me, these guys are entering into a professional organization, but not all of them are professionals. A lot of these kids are freaking exactly just that. Kids, a lot of times spoiled, entitled. I've got kids that are athletes as well. And my damn son is spoiled, and doesn't even know it. So a lot of times this maturity issue is you got to grow up. And in college as an athlete, you get a lot of hand holding. I played D2 ball and they was holding hands in Division II, let alone being a top prospect at a major institution. There's a lot of hand holding. A lot of these dudes need to do some growing up. Is maturity making you fall that far? I don't know. I think Walter Nolan is a top 20 player. Buffalo, they need interior defensive line help. I think Walter Nolan would have helped him this year. You put him in the middle of that defensive line, help Greg Rousseau get loose on the edge, help old Von Miller out on the outside, continue to let those playmakers on the back end, Taron Johnson and whatnot, do well. I think Walter Nolan would have contributed to Buffalo this year, legitimately, this year. All right, at pick 31, the Kansas City Chiefs are on the clock, and they go Nick Scorton, edge rusher out of Texas A&M. A lot of people looked at Scorton and they were like, he's not an edge because he's 290. Then he checks into the combine and he looks slim. He's like 270, 267. Good size, tough. This was a player that a lot of people projected as a top 15 pick at the start of this process. Go back to December, January, fell a little bit because of his body type. These are two back-to-back home run picks, I believe, by Buffalo and Kansas City. Getting Walter Nolan, I see the chat, amazing pick by the Bills. Finally, Zierlein making y'all happy. And they got Nick Scorton here to Kansas City. I like Scorton. I know they need defensive line help. A lot of people don't like Nick. A lot of bad pick. Steve says Nick is good. Garrison said Nick killed the combine. I think Nick is a really good player. And I trust Spagnuolo to make him figure it out. And what better defensive line mentorship to get than Chris Jones? Finally, at pick 32, Howie Roseman and the Philadelphia Eagles are on the clock, and they don't need a damn thing. Philly needs nothing. I don't care that y'all just lost Darius Slay. You don't need D-line. You don't need corner help. You don't need running back. I don't want to hear about your offensive line, quarterback, receiver. Get out of here. God damn it. Commanders fans, I'm good. Eagles, so good. Y'all don't need anything else. And you know what? Zierlein didn't think y'all needed anything else either because you're not even picking here at 32. We have a trade. At pick 32, the Chicago Bears are now on the clock. And they take Gray Zabel, interior offensive line out of North Dakota State. They were tempted to take Igbuka. Poll said we're going O-line. So let me get this straight. At 10, the Bears went Josh Simmons. At 32, the Bears go Gray Zabel. How y'all feel? Keegan, I don't want to hear it. Y'all don't need a tight end. You got Dallas Goedert. They go Gray Zabel. Gray Zabel. Incredible interior offensive lineman. Number one center on the board for most people. He and Donovan Jackson, top guards on the board for a lot of people. But here you go. The Bears go double O-line here. Double O-line in round one. Wow. 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 Some players not picked in round one. Garrison said, great pick for the Bears. He's the number one center in the draft. That's what I said. He's an interior offensive line. They go Darnell Wright a couple of years ago, Josh Simmons, and Gray Zabel. Like, we are giving Caleb Williams every single opportunity to succeed. And I love it. And you know what Chicago also has in round two? They had two high picks in the second round. 2 picks inside the top 39, I believe. Two additional picks inside that top 40 range in the second round. So I'm sure they moved one of those picks and they still have one. Ray, we want Travion Anderson. We want a running back. You still might get one. We need defense. You still might get one because you got another second round pick high. There it is. Zierlein's mock. Normally, when I do this, I'll mock a second round off of it, but I got to take some time to process. I've got to take some time to process what's happened post-combine, what's going on in these mocks, but we'll definitely do that. We will definitely do that. And yeah, Keegan, they traded one of those, but they didn't trade both. I mean, to move up 5 picks, they ain't taking 2 second rounders to do that. That would get Ryan Poles fired if he did that. Running backs, none of them except Genty in round one. Wide receivers, we had 3. Burden, McMillan, Golden. So we still have Emeka Igbuka, Jalen Noel, Jaden Higgins available. Defensive line, crazy depth at the defensive line position. Cornerbacks, hell, you had 3 drafted in round one, so you still got a lot of defensive back help. Malachi Starks, not selected in this mock either. Jackson Dart, not a first-round pick in this mock either. So plenty of depth across all positions in this draft. Yeah, man, Stanley said it's plenty of players worthy of round one status. The draft is the draft. When the pads go on, that don't matter. This one is a little too wild to base a second rounder on. What team do you think traded for Michael Mayer? Or did he get traded? Or is it still up? I don't know who's gonna trade for him, but I like Mayer. Caleb wore that dress, so yeah, they're next up. Come on, man. Come on, Jamie. All right. Appreciate y'all pulling up to this stream. I'm gonna do more of this. I really enjoy doing these mock draft exercises live with y'all, talking through this stuff. Really appreciate everybody being here. If you're new to the channel, this is what we do. We talk ball. We have a good damn time. I ask you to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, help this channel grow, help me out, and I'll continue to pump out draft content as much as you guys want to consume it. So if you like the late night stuff, GGP, Moggs, Jamie, Stanley, we might do this on a more consistent, regular basis. If you missed the morning show, please check out what Jay Rich and I do every single Monday morning, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. We have a great time. I promise you, you will be entertained and you might learn a few things as well. Wake up with Ray and Jay every single Monday, 8 a.m. Central Time, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Head over to DDFFB, that's DD Fantasy Football, as the Dynasty Theory crew is live right now, talking through combine reactions, how to apply it for fantasy football purposes. Thank y'all for pulling up for this stream. I'll see y'all probably tomorrow night. Jordan Reed is dropping a mock tomorrow, and we're going to have to mock off of that one. We're going to have to talk about it, mock off it. So we'll get it up. Appreciate y'all being here. I'm out.